for a little bit, I was like, damn, he is stuck in the house.
But we find out later through like time travel that he doesn't want to leave the house.
No, I can tell you about that.
Well, let's get into that later because we're kind of going in order. I like how we're doing this, right? But yeah, the Mexican family comes in and then he's mad and time works differently. So like we see them go through like days and it's Christmas and everything. And then he starts haunting the kids, like the closet door is like opening and then it like creaks open and like the kids are up looking at it and they're freaking out.
The little kid sees him, huh?
I don't know.
The boy? Because he shoots at him and then he turns around and looks one more time at him.
I was telling Jets, my girlfriend, by the way, for new listeners, I don't know if he sees him or feels him. Yeah. You know?
Oh, I guess like little kids.
Because why isn't he freaking out? He can see this ghost.
Well, little kids are always like, oh, my imaginary friend and shit.
Yeah.
So you're like...
I thought that too. But anyway, so then he comes, like they're all eating dinner, and then he's mad at this point. So he comes and like he knocks over a picture, and then like the boy's like kind of like freaking out, and we can like
the mom's like calming him down.
The mom's calming him down, like saying like, oh, like you're tripping, whatever. And like they're eating like dinner.
It's like, you want to see some shit?
And then out of nowhere, like we see him. So we see his little like ghost like sheet hand. He picks up the milk. And again, I thought this was all metaphorical or whatever. But then the mom like looks up at it.
So, oh shit,
and then it shows from her point of view, and then it's invisible. And then he breaks it, and then he starts getting all the dishes. He's throwing it. He haunts them, and then like they actually move out. So I thought that was a trip. How he is an actual ghost.
What's funny is I always thought that was a dumb part because I was like, this is stupid. Like, why is he? It takes away from the movie. You know,
it's artsy fartsy, man.
But it makes sense now how you say it because it's his angry point. Like, who knows how many years he was like this?
It's like what we think ghosts are in real life. Like, like they say because their life isn't complete. They feel like they missed out. They lost something. And then it's just like, get out of my house. Like it's generic. But for this movie, it works as we're following the ghost.
Yeah. So yeah, he breaks all the plates and then it goes to that college party. Like after they move out, he turns around and literally it's a whole, he hears music.
Yeah. I don't know if they like Airbnb'd it or if they just live there now. But yeah, it's like it's a college party. And everybody's just talking, whatever. And we get into the longest monologue that this actor, I don't know who it is, this bald guy, he goes off and delivers the monologue great. But what he was saying, I was just like, these are like the conversations I was having in high school. Like, why? Somebody should have told him to shut up. He was talking way too long. The girl
starts raising the music. She starts raising the music, and then they all start dancing like that. And then what he's saying kind of messes with what's going on. But
it's following the theme of the movie. But he's basically saying this like 2-3 minute monologue is that like life doesn't matter. Like even like Beethoven and like the most beautiful piece of music could maybe inspire us one day, hundreds of years from now when we go to another planet and it all doesn't matter because we're all going to be sucked into a vacuum of time. All this bullshit where
basically the world's going to end and start over again.
Yeah. I just don't like how it was like this 40-year-old man trying to educate us.
But ultimately, none of that matters any more than digging your fingers into the ground to bury a fence post or fucking.
I saw a thing on freaking TikTok. It was talking about the shit like that, like the in between, like when you go to heaven and shit. And it was basically saying that everybody is everybody. That there's only one soul.
Yeah.
There's only one soul, and that it's everybody's everybody. So you'll keep dying until you're everybody, and then you'll go up, and then you're pretty much like God himself, like you are. But you haven't got there yet.
Deep.
That while I was watching it, I was like, that's pretty crazy. I was like, imagine, 'cause, like, let's say, like, but that the whole thing is that time's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that, like, we're all going like this, but we're the same person talking to each other, experiencing every single thing. And then at the end, you're like, you're complete now. You've lived everybody. At the same time, that's why you say God is you,
right?
And all that shit. So I was
about to say, this sounds very like Christian, Catholic.
When I saw this shit and when everything that happens, like I was saying, I was like, when he jumps, I was laughing because I was like, how's he gonna try to kill himself?
Yeah, we get to the point where the house now he's staying at the house and it's getting old. It's like nobody lives there anymore. It does break down. We get to now he's like in this
company, a company buys the land probably.
Yeah, we get into like this construction. Now I thought he teleported, but you mentioned to me that
they started building a business there, so he stays in the business for a while. But I guess you can argue time goes by so fast that by the time he gets to the roof, that there's a whole city built in that area. So then, I didn't
think about that. I thought he teleported, but that makes it even better.
Yeah, and then he kills himself, and then when he kills himself, he goes back. Like, it starts over, like, he didn't learn his lesson.
So he jumps off the roof, and then, then the scene switches. We see, like, the stars. Beautiful shot. So this movie is beautifully shot.
So he goes back to the beginning of where his house was, and it's like, you're going to learn your lesson. So then he sees the I guess, pilgrims and all them come across. Yeah. He sees them live and die. Eventually getting back to when he moves in.
Not just that, you're underselling it a little bit. We see like these like pilgrims, and then the next scene, like it's a whole family. Then the next scene switches over and they're dead and they have arrows in them. Yeah. And you kind of hear like some Indians like doing their little yelp.
That goes to the thing I said. What if he was like that? Like he was one of them, because it's the same piece of land where he died. So it's like it keeps going over and over and over until because he says, I have history with this house. And
that's true. Because I didn't know what that was.
And he didn't want to leave. She kept saying, we want to leave. And he's like, nah, I don't want to leave. Like, he's connected to the house. So it's almost like it was meant to be. Because, like you said, when the piano, he's the one who pretty much hit the piano.
As soon as we started doing the time travel stuff, I was like, oh, he's the one that hit the piano earlier on accident. Like, it wasn't like he was like haunting them. Yeah. Like, he just sat down, like almost like giving up. And then like his like elbow hit the piano, which woke them up.
So, like, even skipping all it's probably better. Like when you watch it and all that, you see when it started over, the pilgrims and all this, and then he finally gets there. You see him move in, and you see all their life real quick. Like,
and then that's when you find out what the issue was. Like you're mentioning, like they were arguing over this house because she wanted to move, and then he wanted to stay because he had a connection to the house, and then they do decide to move out, and then like the next day is when he dies. Yeah. And then on top of that, we start going even further, and then now he starts seeing himself, the ghost, watching her. Yeah. And now he's just like in this infinite time loop. Yeah. And then this time, instead of letting the paint dry,
he goes right away.
He goes right away and gets the note. And excuse me, I burped. And instead of, I already mentioned, instead of like watching her leave, he went and got the note, and then he looks at it, and then as soon as he sees it, he disappears. Like the sheet just flattens, like how we saw the other ghost earlier when he found out nobody was coming for him. Or she, I think it's a girl ghost. But so we don't see what it is that she wrote, but whatever it was, it's what he needed to move on. And like that was for him. Yeah. So that's when it's all artsy fartsy. Like we don't get to see that. So what did you think about that ending?
Saddest part of the movie right there.
You think that was the saddest part?
That one, and when his homie dies, because it's like that was the only person that sees him and shit.
The other ghost, you mean?
The other ghost.
Girl homie ghost.
Yeah. Flower sheet ghost.
Yeah.
So when that one leaves, you're just like, oh shit, like
now he's alone.
Yeah, now he's alone, and he's seen like that bastard's been waiting his whole life. Like eventually, I'm gonna have to give up. But then he gets a second chance, and then he's like, all right, I'm just gonna screw all this. I'm wasting time. He sees it, and then he freaking, like you said, whatever it said, it didn't look like a lot.
No, it's a little piece of paper, and we see her writing, and it's like 2 lines maybe.
But, yeah, so it's like I don't freaking know what it says, but
it doesn't matter. That's the point. Is that it was whatever he needed. I seen somebody, because I had to look it up. I was just like, okay, what are people saying about this ending? And like, there's like some theories that it's like the song lyrics that song that he wrote for her. Yeah, that's one of the scenes I want to talk about too, because that scene is beautifully tragic. I love using that phrase for certain things that deserve it. The Last of Us, I use that phrase for. This has like the same feeling, where it's just like you feel like bad watching this. You feel like depressed, but then there's beautiful moments. And that moment where like he's playing her the song for the first time. Yeah. Badass song, by the way. I need to get that song.
I thought it's called you
already got the song.
I got you.
Okay. Well, while you do that,
it's right here.
Oh, dang, you're ready.
It's called By Dark Rooms.
Okay.
I Get Overwhelmed. I thought he sang it unless he's Dark Rooms.
No, in the movie he sings. I don't know if in real life he sings it or not.
Oh, well,
is that what you're saying?
The same everything. It was this one.
You're saying Casey Affleck sings that?
In the movie.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But they don't. The singer's voice doesn't change from this song right here.
Right.
So unless he's this band right here, like, well, I don't know if he is because he's in another movie and he's playing guitar. So I was like, maybe he does know how to use all these instruments and shit. Like, I thought he directed it too, but I saw at the end he didn't. It was someone else. But I was like, oh shit, I wouldn't have been surprised. But
yeah, Ben Affleck directs. I wonder if they've done something together. I know they did Good Will Hunting when the Casey Affleck was like barely starting.
Have
you seen Good Will Hunting?
Yeah, the one.
Have you?
A long time ago.
With Robin Williams?
Yeah, Robin Williams.
You haven't seen Good Will Hunting. Robin Williams is Matt Damon's therapist.
Oh, I'm thinking of Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, okay. Totally different. Yeah.
Leonardo, I was like, with Leonardo DiCaprio? I was like...
You would like Good Will Hunting since you like all this sad shit that you like recommending me.
I've seen a speech he says in there.
Oh, dude, that's like Robin Williams' speech, the movie. Like, there's like 50 of them.